Hello, it's Tuesday, September the 4th, 2018, and we're back in the Sermon on the Mount and Matthew 7 and verse 12, and I like to call this God's straight edge. Here's what it says. Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and prophets. This is just a great scripture. In the context that we've been studying in the Sermon on the Mount, I think we have to use this in its context, understand he's talking about our relationship with other people. He sets a straight edge, a measuring stick for us in terms of relationships that will protect everyone and keep interpersonal relationships healthy. And so he says in the context of, remember, starting in this chapter, judge not that you be not judged, and we talked about the areas we can judge in. But our tendency is to judge others in terms of relationship based on their actions toward us and our reaction toward them. And rather than saying this right after verse 6 here, he takes a little time. Jesus took a little time in verses 7 through 11, and he talks about how we become recipients of God's grace by prayer, even though we deserve judgment. And in light of that, verse 12 really comes home to us. And so I want to take the approach here, first of all, that there's a negative measuring stick as opposed to the positive one that Christ gives us. It's not new news to you or to me to tell you that the negative form of what's been called the golden rule has been around for years. Hillel, the Jewish rabbi, said this: what is hateful to yourself, do to no other. That's the whole law, and the rest is commentary. Go and learn. So instead of saying it like Jesus did, he says, what's hateful to yourself, do to no one else. Excuse me. And everything else is just commentary. And go and learn this. The letter of Aristeas, a Jewish scholar who instructed an Egyptian king, says, as you wish no evil would befall you, but to be a partaker of all good things, so you should act on the same principle toward your subjects and offenders. And Confucius, years before Christ, weighed in on this and said, what you do not want done to yourself, do not do to others. And so there is, even in our culture today, a negative measuring stick. Don't do this because you don't want it done to you. Okay, that's the negative side of what we would call the golden rule, 3 or 4 centuries before Jesus Christ came on the scene. It's a rule without which life would not go on at all. It simply involves a refraining from certain actions. And I will tell you, this is more a legal principle than a religious principle. A man who has no belief in no religion at all can keep it. A goodness which consists in doing nothing would be a contradiction of everything that Christian goodness means. And so Jesus here in Matthew 7:12 moved this to a positive principle. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. I want you to think about this. So have you thought through your actions toward others in relationship in terms of the negative or the positive? So in the negative sense, and obviously there's nothing wrong with that negative sense. I mean, you don't want people to do certain things to you, so you don't do it to them. So we have this principle that we have to learn to live by. And if we don't live by it, there's going to be a mess in terms of relationships. And so I'm just encouraging you today to think through, am I living on the negative side of the measuring stick, or am I living on the positive side? And I'd like you to live in that positive side where you'll get a whole lot more happiness and joy in this life. Father, help us today to be such people of overwhelming joy, based upon a right relationship with you, which creates such peace in our spirit that peace would permeate every relationship we have on this planet. And Lord, help us to live in relationship to people in such a way that reflects we've sat at the foot of the cross and been saturated with the love of God. Thank you. Amen. Have a blessed day as you walk out this journey, this great journey you're on right now. And no matter what's taking place in your life, live for the glory of God.